The United Nations is investigating the actions of peacekeepers during a recent attack on a hotel in the capital, Juba. The investigation has been launched by UN Chief Ban Ki-moon. The attack was launched by uniformed men who killed a journalist and raped several civilians. Ban has launched an independent special investigation to determine the circumstances surrounding other grave cases of sexual violence committed in Juba. The probe will also be taking an overall look at how peacekeepers have responded to crises in the country. For more on that story, CCTV's Nick Harper joins us live from New York now. Nick, what more can you tell us about this investigation into UN peacekeepers conduct in South Sudan?
Well, it's very clear that Ban Ki-moon and the whole of the United Nations team are trying very hard to get in front of this after criticism that they were far too slow to respond. Ban Ki-moon coming out with a statement overnight in which he said that it was time to push ahead with this independent investigation. They've already carried out preliminary findings. Ban Ki-moon said that he was alarmed by those findings. He also said that he was concerned about the allegations that the UN team in South Sudan didn't respond quickly enough. So they're launching this independent special investigation, effectively a two-pronged approach to look into two separate things. Firstly, to determine the exact circumstances surrounding what happened. The attack on the hotel where one person died and several people were raped and beaten, but also to evaluate the mission's overall response, whether they were slow to respond and whether there was anything that they should have done differently. So Ban Ki-moon very much pushing ahead and saying that it's needed this special investigation to look into what happened.
And Nick, the UN wants to send in thousands of extra peacekeepers into Juba. How will this investigation likely affect the timeline of that deployment?
That's right, yes. Just last Friday, the UN Security Council approved sending an extra 4,000 peacekeeping troops to South Sudan. That's on top of the 12,000 they already have in the country. It was something that they'd been weighing up for some time, but they finally voted and approved on that happening on Friday. Also, their mandate will change slightly. They'll have the ability to actually engage with people on the ground in fighting, something that they haven't really been able to do so up until now. In terms of the deployment, they want to make this happen as soon as possible. However, with this investigation, it's likely that they will want to get that at least underway before a deployment takes place. But we have to remember that it does take some time, especially when we're talking about a deployment of this size, to properly train and mobilize 4,000 troops. So that may not happen for some time yet, giving the opportunity for an investigation to at least get started.
And of course, Nick, government is adamant against the deployment of extra troops. Is the UN in talks with Juba at this stage? What's the latest on that front?
Well, that's right, yes. President Salva Kiir, up until now, has very much been adamant about that happening, talking about the fact that it threatens the sovereignty of South Sudan, sending more peacekeepers in. However, there does seem to be a softening. The United Nations have been trying to engage with Salva Kiir for some time. It does seem that there have perhaps been some behind-the-scene talks going on. We know within the last few days that Salva Kiir says that he is weighing up the possibility of this happening. However, he is wanting to have some bargaining power, saying that he would want to be able to discuss the exact size of the force, the contributing countries, i.e. where the peacekeepers come from, the type of weapons that they have on the ground, and also the mandate that they actually have when they're there in South Sudan. So he's weighing it up, the UN very much pushing for it to happen, but he does want to make it very clear that he has the final say in exactly how these 4,000 troops are when they get there to his country.
All right, Nick Harper live for us in New York. Many thanks, Nick.